Hey, here we go. Before I start my lesson today, I've got to update you or finish our conversation from yesterday. I was telling you that you need to live life. I know the coronavirus is out there and, but still enjoy your life. And so, yes, I did do those 100 setups yesterday, read a chapter in my book, and I also jumped on the trampoline, and I didn't get to play Whitney a game of basketball. But let me tell you what happened. She works at the Hurley house, and Hazen has a curfew of 9 o'clock. So after she got off work, she hung out with her friend just for a little while and came rolling in at 8:59. So therefore, it was dark outside, and we didn't get to play our basketball game. So I said, that's okay, Whit. We can play basketball game inside the house. And so this is what I set up for our basketball game. So let me grab the phone and travel with me, because I'm going to tell you who won. Oh, there's my piano. Love to play the piano. Okay. Now, so I set this up right here so you can see that this is how we were going to play our basketball game. So let me flip the lights on, and here I'm giving you a demonstration. I'm bouncing the ball, You see the ball? And then I'm going to throw it, and I score! Yeah! So, but let me tell you what happened. Going back to my place where I can video my my lesson. What happened was she refused to play. She said, I am not playing toilet basketball, Mom. And so there it is. I won against Whitney because she refused to play toilet basketball. So the people that text me Cagle, you were right. The people that text me Whitney, you were wrong. Now for my lesson. Okay, here we go. Complete the square part 2. Today is lesson 11, and today is April the 15th. So we're just continuing our lesson. There's going to be one little difference today, okay? And I'll point it out to you. So here we go. The lesson starts out like this. 2x squared. What kind of problem is this? Well, an x squared problem is a quadratic. 2x squared equaled negative 8x minus 16. Now, the first thing you want to do, I didn't write down the steps today because you should have them from yesterday, is I'm going to move stuff around first. Yesterday we had an invisible 1 right there. Today we have a number there, so that's going to change things just a tad. So, put your x's on one side. This is out of order. So your negative 8x becomes a positive 8x, and then equal negative 16. Okay, so that looks how like I had it yesterday. Variables on the left, numbers on the right. Now I'm going to take care of this 2 right here. It's got to be an invisible 1. So I wonder, what could we do to get rid of that 2 legally? Well, you could divide by 2, but since it's an equation, you have to follow through all the way across. Now, so this is going to leave me with x squared plus 4x, and I'm going to go ahead and draw plus a blank equal negative 8. Now, since you have a blank there, then I've got to fill in the blank. Do you remember how we did that yesterday? Took half the number that was in front of it and then squared it. And since you're squaring it, it's always going to turn out positive. So what's half of 4? 2. What's 2 squared? 4. So you're adding 4 to both sides. I'm going to have to erase a little bit and continue this up here. Factors get factor. So you're going to open up 2 parentheses. X squared is x times x. Skip over the middle. A plus sign means same. How do you know which one? Plus, plus, minus, minus. You have to look back. So it's 2 pluses. Two numbers that multiply to give you 4. But when you add them, give you 4. Well, that's 2 times 2. And remember, this always has to be the same. X plus 2, x plus 2. Now, look at this. I threw this in on purpose. You subtract and you get negative 4 right there. Now, that did not happen yesterday. You rewrite this, and you rewrite it with 1 set of parentheses, and you have the same thing 2 times, so that's where the 2 is coming from, equal negative 4. And then, again, your algebra skills just kick in at some point. You go, oh, don't need the steps anymore. How do you get rid of a square? It's called the inverse property. And you take a square root. And a square root and a square undo each other. And then you're left with x plus 2. And yes, I do drop the parentheses because I don't need them. Now, what's the square root of negative 4? Well, the square root of 4, just looking at the number, is 2. But since it's negative, you have to add on a I. So, square root plus or minus, the square root of 4 is 2, but a square root of a negative number, you lose the negative and you add on the I. Now take this 2 and I'm going to move it out in front. X equal negative 2 plus or minus 2I. Now, I was wondering, can I combine those terms? The answer is no. I's only add with other i's. Numbers only add with other numbers. Since they can't be combined, you just leave it. Now, let me tell you what these answers represent. The x-intercepts. So we know that the graph is a parabola. How did I know that? Because it's an x squared problem. But these x-intercepts, when you have an I, that means your parabola does not cross the x-axis at all. And you go, well, then what does it look like? Well, it would look something like this. It would be, your parabola would be above the x-axis. All right. Let's do an example 2. All right. So that's going to happen in at least one of your problems today, that you should get a negative under a square root. Now here goes another one. 2x squared and minus 4x minus 16 equals 0. And you're thinking, isn't that what we just had? No, it's a little bit different. So the first thing is, I'm going to divide by 2, or I could go ahead and take this number and move it over and then divide by 2. I think I'm just going to go ahead and start dividing by 2, and then I'll move that number. I've got to have an invisible 1 in front of my x squared. So that's going to be x squared minus 4 divided by 2 is 2x minus 8 equals 0. Now I'm going to go ahead and complete the square, you have your x's on the left and you have your number on the right. So I'm going to go x squared minus 2x, and when I move the number, that is when I draw plus blank. So move the number, draw plus a blank. And then that just falls to the next step. Oh, now I got to figure out the blank. Well, take half of the number in front of it. Use the sign. I don't. But anytime you square something, it's going to turn out positive anyway. What's half of 2? 1. What's 1 squared? Back to 1. So you're adding 1 to both sides. Okay, now I'm going to skip factor that. So that's always 2 parentheses. X squared is x times x. Skip over the middle. Plus sign means they're going to be the same. And look back to see which one you need to pick. So minus, minus. 2 numbers that multiply to give you 1, but add to give you 2. Well, that would have to be 1 times 1. Numbers add with other numbers, so that gives you 9. So then you're going to rewrite this with 1 parentheses, and you have 2 of the same thing, equal 9. How do you undo a square? Square root. It's called the inverse property. We've talked about that this year in class. Miss Cagle and Mr. Cagle, undo. I clean, he messes up. He undoes things that I do. All right, cross cancels. Drop the parentheses. X minus 1 equal the square root of 9 is plus or minus 3. Now solve. Keep your x, number goes to the right. So x equal 1 plus or minus 3. Well, that's going to give you 2 answers. So those 2 answers are what? Well, 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. But what do these answers mean? They're the x-intercepts. Now, I'm going to graph this today just so you can see what's going on. Okay, so here's my x and y axis. You make your hash marks. You space them out as equal as you can. And on the x-axis, I'm going to graph the positive 4. And then on the x-axis, because these are x-intercepts, so they both get plotted on the x-axis. Now, go back. Our problem was like this. X squared minus 2x minus 8. So you have a positive number in front of your x squared, so it's going to make it positive. It's going to make your parabola go up then. So I didn't find my vertex. It's down here somewhere, but this is good enough just to draw like a little sketch of it. Not my best parabola. Okay, so on one of your assignments, on one of your homework problems, I have you do that. I think it's number 3, where I have you not only solve it by completing the square, but also taking your answers and putting them on a graph and drawing your parabola. We could find our vertex, negative b over 2a. We could find the vertex and plot it. All right, so here we go. So this is, okay, so here we go. Name, the 15th, lesson 11. Please send this to my phone instead of my email. There we go. Oh, it's number 3. Complete the square on all of them. But on number 3, you have to do and graph. All right. There's only 5 problems. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, guys. All I can say, I got 3 pictures so far. And I can't pull them up because I'm doing my video. So, maybe tomorrow, Mr. Cagle's not here, Whitney's not here, she's at work, he's fishing. And so I'd have to have another phone so I could show you the pictures of Brooke, Josh, and Austin. So if you hadn't sent me your picture that you are still living life, because I am, then send me that picture, and sometime this week I'll put it on YouTube and you'll be famous. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Sorry this video is a little late. Had some errands to run this morning. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Keep sending me your work. All right, bye.